Hi everybody, I'm Strick and I'm here to talk about my art. I've been an artist all my life and I make things out of other things. I've tried a lot of different art processes and materials and I finally decided I couldn't decide. So I decided I needed to call myself a mixed media artist. The other thing I sometimes describe myself as is a doll artist because I make a lot of what I refer to as dolls. But some people think that that means, oh, I don't know, Barbie dolls? Well, that's not me. So what I do is I like to use old junk that someone else isn't using anymore. And this very large doll, this is about the biggest one that I've ever made, most of her came from an old barn in Ohio. And this is a big piece of chestnut that I was fortunately given. And I turned it into a doll who has parts and pieces of a variety of other things. Also a second face in case you need a two-faced doll in your life. And this one takes up a lot of space. A small one that makes more sense, but is very similar, is this cute little character here. And she's made out of a piece of pine that's carved and painted. Her legs are twigs. So, just in case you didn't notice, the woods where I've lived for many, many years, I have access to lots and lots of wood. So a lot of dolls wind up with wood arms and legs and other things that I find here and there. So this is a good example of the way I put a lot of different things together. Her little ornament is something that has started out as a piece of a drinking straw, and then I wrapped it with paper and fabric and cord, and now it's a little ornament for this little doll to hold. In a couple of trays here on the table, I have a number of things that are in process, and I'll show you a couple of them. I have this odd little character, great big head, little tiny body, and then a funny little pair of pantaloons that I made. And so I don't know if it's a little boy or a girl, and I guess it doesn't really matter, but this is what this little character is going to look like, well, sort of, except with a face and with arms and feet and whatnot, eventually, we hope. And I had this little odd piece of furniture that I cut and carved and drilled, and I think, because to me it looks like a little tiny doll, I think this little character is going to have this little doll to hold. Doesn't that just seem pretty cool? There are some others here. This is what they look like at the very beginning when they've just come up from sawdust hell. That's how I refer to my basement, where the piece of pine has been cut, carved, and drilled. And all that's been done to them since they got out of sawdust hell was that the first coat of paint on their faces has been done. There are a lot of other ones over here in various stages of completion. I use scissors, I use pliers, I use spools of wire, I use acrylic paint and lots of paintbrushes, and I also use India ink, and I use a dip pen. So there are lots of different steps, lots of different processes, and lots of fun to be had. This doll has a little bit of an old recipe book and collaged onto the body. And if you didn't care for the doll but you wanted a beef stew recipe, you could just read the back of the doll where it says beef stew with something or other. So these are just some short little examples of things I make. My attitude about art is that you should do it as much as possible. You should have as much fun as you can. Please don't take it too seriously. And just remember that anything can become anything, especially when you're talking about art. So go do something. Start some silly art. Thanks for watching. Bye.